The sun hung like a heavy gold coin over the land of the east. Jacob, weary from his long flight from his brother's wrath, arrived at a well in the middle of a vast field. 3 flocks of sheep lay nearby. He watched as the shepherd struggled with the massive stone covering the well's mouth. Then, like a vision in the heat haze, Rachel appeared with her father's sheep. Jacob felt a surge of strength. He moved the stone alone, watered her flock, and wept with the relief of finding his kin. The journey was over, but a new trial was beginning. Laban welcomed Jacob with open arms, but his eyes were calculating. Jacob loved Rachel with a fierce, quiet devotion. "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter," Jacob declared. For 7 years, the seasons turned. The spring rains gave way to the parched summer heat. Jacob worked the land, his mind always on the prize. The text says those 7 years felt like but a few days because of the love he had for her. He was a man transformed by a promise. The wedding feast was loud with the sound of flutes and laughter. Wine flowed freely, and the desert stars twinkled above the celebration. In the darkness of the tent, a veiled bride was brought to Jacob. But when the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Jacob turned to see his bride, and it was Leah, the elder daughter. The betrayal stung like a scorpion's strike. Jacob confronted Laban in a fury, but the old man only smiled. "It is not our custom to marry the younger, before the firstborn," he said coldly. To win Rachel, Jacob agreed to another 7 years of labor. He married Rachel 1 week later, but the cost was a decade and a half of his life. The household became a place of quiet tension. Leah, the unloved, bore many sons, while Rachel, the beloved, remained barren and heartbroken. Jacob walked the middle ground, a shepherd of sheep and a shepherd of a fractured family. His hands grew rougher, and his heart grew more guarded as the years stretched on. Jacob's time was up, but Laban begged him to stay, for he saw that God blessed everything Jacob touched. They made a deal. Jacob would take only the speckled and spotted sheep as his pay. Laban immediately tried to cheat him, hiding all the spotted animals 3 days away, but Jacob was craftier. He placed peeled branches of poplar and almond before the strongest flocks. Through a mystery of nature and divine favor, the strongest sheep birthed speckled offspring. Jacob's wealth exploded, much to Laban's growing rage. The atmosphere in Laban's camp turned poisonous. Laban's sons whispered that Jacob had stolen their father's wealth. God spoke to Jacob in the silence of the night. "Return to the land of your fathers." While Laban was away, shearing his sheep, Jacob gathered his wives, his 11 sons, his daughters, and his thousands of animals. They moved like a shadow across the landscape, crossing the river and heading for the mountains of Gilead, fleeing the only home they had known for 20 years. 3 days later, Laban discovered the flight. With a company of armed men, he rode hard, his heart set on reclaiming his property. He chased them for 7 days across the rugged terrain. But on the night before he reached them, the heavens opened. In a dream that chilled Laban to his core, God appeared. "Take heed," the voice echoed, "that you speak not to Jacob either good or bad." The pursuit slowed, the anger replaced by a fearful caution. On the slopes of Mount Gilead, the two parties met. Laban accused Jacob of stealing his heart and his household idols. Jacob, unaware that Rachel had hidden the idols in her camel's saddle, invited Laban to search every tent. The tension was thick as Laban tossed through their belongings. When nothing was found, Jacob's long-suppressed anger boiled over. 20 years I have been with you," he cried. "You changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father had not been with me, you would have sent me away empty-handed." Exhausted by their conflict, the two men chose peace over blood. Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. His men gathered stones into a great heap. They called it Mizpah, meaning watchtower. They ate a meal together on the heap of stones, a solemn feast of parting. "May the Lord watch between me and you when we are out of each other's sight," Laban said. It was a boundary line in the sand that neither man would ever cross again to harm the other. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his daughters and his grandchildren. He blessed them with a trembling voice and turned his face back toward the east. Jacob watched until the dust from Laban's caravan vanished into the horizon. He was finally free. No longer a servant, no longer a fugitive from his father-in-law. Jacob turned his eyes toward the promised land. He marched forward, a patriarch of a new nation, walking into a future ordained by the stars.